Hello, everyone, and welcome to Voices Beyond Borders, the podcast that explores everything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as international exchange and education. My name is Francesco Bajos. I am your host, and I am so happy and I am so honored to welcome you back to our final and sixth episode of this season. In today's episode of Voices Beyond Borders, titled Exploring International Drag Experiences, we're embarking on a very interesting story, you guys. So first of all, we're gonna be exploring the definition of drag, its meaning, and also the opportunities and challenges faced by drag artists all across the world. Then we're gonna discuss a little bit about the global climate of this art form, as well about some advocacy efforts and strategies for raising awarenesses. So joining us today are two amazing and incredible guests, each bringing a unique perspective and rich experience in the world of drag. First of all, we have Hodi, a Lebanese drag artist, voguing dancer, and choreographer. Hodi not only introduced voguing to the Lebanese club and dancing scene, but also organized the very first ever ball in the Middle East. We also have Sofia, a Montana-based Latin drag artist, dancer, activist, and diva. Sophia holds the distinguished title of the 2022 Countess of the Countship of the ISCSM, thus showcasing her impact and influence within her drag community. Hi guys, how are you?
Hello, I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm so happy to have you here. You literally have no idea. When I first started planning for this podcast, I had in mind I want to do a drag related episode, and I'm so happy to finally bring this to life.
Yeah. Thank you so much for including me in this amazing opportunity and podcast. And I can't wait to see where it goes.
So to start us off, can you please each introduce yourself and share a little bit about your story within the world of drag?
Yeah, my name is Sophia Gloria Hull in drag. I also use Sophia Shadow during any of the family-friendly shows that we do here in Montana. My drag journey is kind of like up in so many different ways. I kind of got introduced to it very fast. Didn't really know what drag was at the time. I just knew some people within my group that would go to drag shows or were interested in performing. They kind of showed me what drag was at the time. This was 5-6 years ago. And I was one of those people where I liked going to drag shows at the time, but I was like, I will never do drag. Like, that's just nothing I would ever do. Like, I won't see myself up on the stage doing anything like that. I think it's great. I think it's cool. I think the art form is amazing. And then, like, a year later, I was in drag. I was on the stage. I was performing. And ever since, yeah, it's great. Ever since then, I kind of just had this passion for it and found that this is a art for me and that I love performing. I love going into a different part of myself and expressing myself in so many different ways. And now, like you mentioned earlier, that I do now host drag shows here in Montana and have been Countess of the ISCSM multiple times, second time now. So yeah, it's been a really good journey and met a lot of people and pretty big advocate and person in my community here in Montana.
My name is Hodi. I'm 28 years old. As you said, I'm a drag artist based in Beirut. My drag is basically club kid drag. So I'm not a female impersonator. I'm more on the weird, abstract side of drag. And I've been doing drag for the past 6 years, maybe, I can say. I've started my dancing career started way before. I think for like 13 years now. But drag was like an extra to my dancing, and I was like more of a self-expression. So I started like, I can say maybe 6 years ago, I started doing drag.
So for all of our viewers and listeners tuning in today, Guys, I just need to give you like a small story. The first ever drag show I attended in my life, and the very first one was also in the USA. Sophia was a big part of that one. And also the very last drag show I attended before leaving the USA, coming back to Lebanon, Sophia was a part of that. So Sophia, I literally consider like a huge part of my drag initiation or like drag show initiation. You guys and the entire drag community in Bozeman, actually in Montana, like showed me what it means, what drag is, how the shows usually happen, because I've never attended a drag show before that, and I'm
Never,
obsessed. Never
before.
ever.
Oh,
Like
geez.
Lebanon, as Hodi will mention and mentioned a little bit, we have a big drag scene in Lebanon. It's literally the biggest drag scene in the Middle East. However, there's still a little bit of taboos surrounding it, and it's mainly situated in our capital, which is Beirut. I unfortunately live far from Beirut, so I don't always have the opportunity to go and attend one. So when I left Lebanon, went to the USA, the very first thing on my mind was I need to attend a drag show. And I think you were doing a scene, not a scene, like how you say it, like a performance for a, it was inspired by Selena. You were wearing like a white shiny outfit, and I was obsessed with it. I still have the video. I might show it actually. You never know. But I was obsessed with it, and yeah, I'm so glad you could join us today.
Yeah, thanks again. Yeah, I'm glad that we were able to do that for you, especially Bozeman, because Bozeman does have a pretty big drag scene compared to the rest of Montana.
This brings me to our second question, which is, how do you usually define drag in general and your drag in specific? And what does it mean to you personally?
Okay, drag in general to me is everything. It's the way we wake up every morning and we get dressed to go out and we get ready. This is some form of drag. Because again, as RuPaul says, we're born naked and the rest is drag.
Drag.
And I really believe in that because like we actually add stuff to on our body and on our face, and we fix our hair in a certain way just to express ourselves. So this is drag for me. But on more of an artistic side, drag can actually translate anything, like any artistic vision in your head can be translated to reality. And this is what drag means to me. I get to make whatever vision in my head come to life, and I can create any concept that I want to showcase, and I can just make it through my outfit, through my makeup, and my performance.
Yeah, drag for me is a performance art and another way to tap into a personality or persona that maybe you didn't know you had or you did. It's very creative, it's fun, it's interactive, and it's entertaining.
Guys, you already know I'm not a drag artist myself, at least not yet. But to me, someone who's like an avid drag fan and passionate about everything related to this art form, I feel that it is very rooted in politics. One, meaning that any drag artist has a political statement in which they want to improve, let's say, their surroundings, their community, or they have like a certain message of embracing diversity, embracing others, embracing our differences, and all of that. And to me, there's like a power in that. I know RuPaul once said, like, there's a power in you when you're in drag. And if you tap into that power when you're outside of drag, that's when you become unstoppable. And it's really like your drag persona is an extension to your real persona. And once you kind of click and you understand that, you're going to become an unstoppable force in the world. And this is where I feel drag comes in and make us realize that we have this power to create a change and to create an impact in the world. We just need to be courageous enough to pursue it, actually. So thank you guys for sharing a glimpse into your story and how you're using that power as well.
Thank you.
So this brings us to our second question. Actually, it's a two-part question. Part one, you know that drag is very, as we said, political. It's very challenges. So one, what are like the most pressing challenges you as a drag artist are facing within your community? So Hodi, you in Lebanon, in Beirut mostly, and Sophia, you within Bozeman or like Montana in general. So what are those challenges you are facing? And also, what are the opportunities that drag has offered you both personally and professionally?
Yeah, the pressing challenges that I have been experiencing as an artist in Montana is the political climate right now. That's definitely the biggest pressing issue. Having to work around certain bills or certain events that we've never experienced before. And also just being in Montana in general. It's kind of a very backwards place, very conservative place. So having to just deal with a bunch of people who are really religious as well, who want to come up to us in any certain way or capacity to tell us that.
Unfortunately, that's something very common between Montana and Lebanon as well. Lebanon is a very religious country, and although there's a bit more freedom than other surrounding countries, we're still having such problems, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is very unfortunate.
Mhm.
Very. The rewards and opportunities, it's given me a lot of opportunities to one, perform in other parts of the country as well. And just to create a sense of family that is different than my like blood related family. Drag is such a great place to create those interactions with people, and you get so close with them. We have like drag families where there's like houses that we have, and so great to be like a drag mother to someone or have like a drag sister or a drag brother. So those are definitely some great opportunities I've gained from the drag community, and just putting a bunch of things back into the community as well. Working for the nonprofit, the ISCSM, has also had so many opportunities for me, and being able to support my community in any way that I can, and grow it are the biggest opportunities, and like rewarding things from my.
I agree with you. I also have to agree with the point you mentioned that drag is about community, is about family, and especially like how in Bozeman you guys are so like you care about each other, you're helping each other, and you making sure that each one of you is growing. Even though again I'm not a drag artist, but when I first arrived in Bozeman, the very first friend I made was Rex Pistols, who is an amazing drag king, by the way, guys. I'm gonna put some pictures here. And he was the first one who made me feel like a part of something. I was all alone. I was new in a place I never met, like I've never been to before, don't know anyone. And he was like literally the second person I met there. And he just made me feel like, okay, I belong here. I can have some friends. And it's been like a friendship ever since. So again, without the drag community in Bozeman, I wouldn't have had such an amazing experience abroad. So again, thank you guys for that.
Yeah, that's so loving and supportive. I love the community here. It's fabulous.
Hello everyone, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors, Sabal Public Library, for giving us this amazing space that we're filming in for the duration of the season. Thank you so much, Sabal Public Library.
Oh wow, okay. Challenges, to be very, very, very honest, my drag career has been great, has been so smooth. I've never had any obstacles when it comes to my drag, or any obstacle when it comes to my shows. I've never had like any challenge. But I would say actually just being in Beirut and with the limited resources we have here, maybe we have to be 10 times more creative to use the materials that we have to use. Like for example, if you want to create a headpiece, and then you might need something specific for that headpiece and you want not find it, so you will have to get creative to find the right material. Because I believe like if you're in maybe in the US, I'm just stating, I'm not sure at the it's facts or not, but like maybe in the US or maybe in Europe, like shipping and stuff like are easier because you have like the services, like you can just buy something online, you will have it like delivered in a couple of days. We don't have that here. You know, like if I want to ship something here, sometimes I have to wait like a month or 2 or 3 months so I can get like my props or the material that I have to use. So this is like something I would consider a bit challenging.
Hody, in that context, do you feel like,
Yeah.
considering Lebanese drag scene is very underground, and usually it's very underground, not just in Lebanon and the entire Middle East area, do you feel that this poses more challenges on how you can perform or like get your stuff and all of that? Or do you think it's an opportunity for you guys to, okay, we have a responsibility, we need to showcase the people that queer drag artists actually are available in this part of the world, and we are not gonna go hiding, we are gonna thrive and we're gonna make it?
Like it goes both ways. It goes both ways. لأنه
Mhm.
because usually it depends on where you are, because Beirut is different than the other regions
Sure.
of the Arab world. Drag in Beirut is more visible, and we're out, and I'm someone who's out to my parents, to my surroundings, and I know a lot of my drag colleagues are also out to their surroundings and to their parents. But in other regions in the Arab world, I don't think people can be out as gay individuals,
Unfortunately.
let alone like drag.
Mhm.
So yeah, it might be underground in certain areas of the Middle East or the Arab region, but in Beirut, it's not that underground because actually we're very vocal. It's still considered underground because we're not on national television and we're not on like billboards, but it can be considered in a way underground. However, the fact that we're still in Beirut in the Middle East, there's certain limits to what we can perform and what we can showcase. And for example, one of the main rules we use as drug artists in Beirut is the fact that we don't showcase a lot of nudity in our looks, because this is like a sensitive topic. We showcase any cleavage or like any like private part. Also, one of like the main rules in our shows is no political references and no religious reference. Like you can be political in your act, and you can be like the voice to those who don't have a voice.
Exactly.
But like to mention names and references of
Political
politicians
parties.
and political parties, it's a big no. And to like mess with religion and just talk about religion is a big no here, because these are very sensitive topics. This is kind of like a red flag. We don't cross that. Maybe some things happened recently about that issue, and we see where we're headed, with
we're
like
gonna
just like a
discuss
small
that in a
hiccup.
bit.
Exactly. So these are like the things that نحن usually we don't apply into our work within the drag. So yeah, but usually, of course, we have a platform. We're very vocal. We have to be very vocal because, to be very honest, drag has pushed the LGBTQ plus community in the Middle East like 10 steps ahead. Like 10 years ago, the community was so much underground. There was no visibility whatsoever. Even the mentality was so different. But the moment like we started like this drag kind of movement and the ballroom scene in Beirut, and we started like showcasing more and more, and you can feel like everything has changed. People became more mature about LGBTQ plus issues. People became more educated about it, even within the community. Like you've had like so many people, those guys on like dating apps where they put like no femmes, no black, no Asian, no whatever. Like people didn't have this mentality that this is wrong, and now like people quite understand that
Do you
such
think this
things
is
are
due to like this is like a younger generation, we're more open to like these type of experiences?
the younger generation is the younger generation is way more open, is way more educated about these issues, because they're more exposed to it, and they grew up in an environment where these were actually big topics to talk about, and being more politically correct. Because people back then, a lot of our jokes were just jokes, but now if you think about it, you say, oh, this is not politically correct, this is very offensive. And this, it comes with more awareness about these issues, and because people are more vocal about these issues. So
yeah, that's actually, I have a funny story about, actually it's not a funny story, but so I used to live in Montana. Again, all of my viewers and listeners already know this, and Montana is considered like, I'm gonna say this, not the most open state in the USA. Actually, I think it was Montana, the first state that banned drag to people under 18 years old, if I'm not, But the thing I noticed is that whenever there's a drag show or whenever there's something related to drag, people from all ages come and attend, and they are very enthusiastic and they are very open and like encouraging of it. Like I've seen people age 60, 70, and 80 years old who are like happy they are coming here and cheering for their favorite drag artist and just wanting to be part of this experience. And I've also seen young kids age 10, 9, or
Yeah,
up to 12 years old with their parents, and they're so happy about it. And I'm glad what you're saying, Hodi, is that this newer generation is more open to these experiences,
definitely.
because yes, USA, we already know about USA. It's very open in that term. And I know, Sophia, you can give us more insights into that. Maybe, at least that was my experience. That's how I perceived it. But hearing that also the new generation in Lebanon is more open and is more encouraging and is more okay, like we know this is an art form, we're gonna celebrate it, we're gonna encourage it, makes me very happy to hear that as well. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Yeah, definitely. This is the case. You also asked me, I think, about the
Opportunities.
opportunity. Yeah. Well, drag has changed my life, like my life actually, because drag kind of opened like a lot of doors for me.
Mhm.
First of all, it gave me so much recognition and attention that kind of I wanted as an artist. So it expanded my platform. I have more people that are interested, and I have more people wanting to see more of what I can create and come up with when it comes to my drag. But it also like gave me the opportunity to perform everywhere, like
Mhm.
whether like locally in Beirut. I've performed in so many clubs, so many like platforms. Internationally, I've performed in so many countries. I've performed in Macedonia and Berlin and Barcelona, in Copenhagen and Amsterdam. So I've got the opportunity to travel and perform to like bigger crowds. Like my latest was like Copenhagen Pride, and it was like drag night, and it was like the biggest drag event in Europe. Like there was like around 22K attending the
Wow,
event. Like
that's
I went
amazing.
on stage and I was like, what the hell? Like this is like insane, you know? Like I just like see that like in movies or in concerts where like there's these big artists
Mhm.
and like you have like an ocean of people, and I got to experience that. So that was like and one of the best opportunities I've had. So drag kind of like helped me a lot. And actually, financially, drag has been like my savior in all of this. Like, as a vet, I don't think like this is my main income. I
Mhm.
think drag and artistic side is basically my main main source
Source
of
of
income,
income.
and I make a living yeah, and I make a living out of my drag, and I'm so thankful for that.
That's so good to hear. And also, if I may say personally, I feel like you are one of the best drag artists that they are representing Lebanon in a very good way. And if we were to have a representative of Lebanese drag, I'm so happy it's you actually. Okay, guys, and I'm saying this because I genuinely feel like this, and I'm just saying this because Hodi is with us today. But I'm gonna show you pictures. So we're gonna put pictures here. The type, like the skills it takes to create such, I'm not gonna say a look, it's like a masterpiece, is insane. Like I could never do that in my life. So Hodi, this is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I mean, it means a lot that people love what I do and I appreciate what I do, because I do it from the heart, and I do it because I really enjoy doing drag, and the fact that people can actually relate and they enjoy it as much as
Mhm.
I do, I think it's me. So thank you.
So Sophia, last May in Bozeman, there was the very first Pride Parade. I think it was the first one in 10 years, if I'm not mistaken. And unfortunately, something happened during that day. Can you please tell us a little more about what happened and the backstory of it all?
Yeah, of course. May 20th, 2023. Yes, it was our first Pride in Bozeman after 10 years. We have other prides across the state, but Bozeman hasn't hosted one in 10 years.
Mhm.
It was a great, fabulous day. It was hot. It was perfect weather for Bozeman Pride. We ended up doing something a little bit different. It was kind of like an art walk where you started at the Bozeman Public Library. We had some speeches going on there. We had the mayor, and then we had our art gallery, and then from there you would walk downtown to certain businesses that wanted to be a part of Bozeman Pride. There was a resource fair, there was a block party, there was drag story hour, and then throughout those, after this whole event, there was like a comedy show later in the night along with some other drag shows. And it was about 30 minutes after the speeches at the library. People started walking to the resource fair, and we had walkie-talkies. So certain individuals like, hey, we see some people getting out of their cars, they have signs, and I think they're coming to us. And they were these white supremacist group from a different state in Idaho. And
Oh, I never
they,
knew that.
yeah, it was,
Interesting.
yeah.
Okay.
So they traveled all the way from there to Bozeman and also arrived in Livingston prior to that. And they showed up, they were chanting. At first, it wasn't like anything too crazy. It was just a lot of chanting, and they had microphones. They were like yelling at people. And then it got aggressive. They started pushing people. People were falling to the ground. They were pepper spraying people. We were trying to get our people back as best as we could, but it was kind of hard to control some people. As we were calling 911 during those times, they didn't really do much. They didn't really help. They basically told us that if we tell them to leave, that we have to tell you guys to leave and stop what you're doing because you're doing the same thing. And we kind of looked at them and we're like, we're not protesting anything. We're having
Exactly.
an event to support our community, and these are individuals who are disturbing that and disturbing the peace here. And they kind of just had police officers posted every once in a while. They would leave because they were pretty low staff that day. They ended up going down the street and following people. They were harassing kids. They were also just like targeting people. As they were walking to the block party, they would push people to the side. They trampled an elderly lady. They pushed this guy off his bike. They maced another guy on the way down. Once they hit the block party, they were doing the same thing, chanting, interacting with our guests, and just like hurting people. And once again, the police weren't doing anything. So the greatest thing that happened during that was once they hit the block party, those people there that were dancing kept dancing in front of them, and the DJ just turned the music up louder, and everyone tried to just like pretend they weren't there.
We love that.
Which was like the best moment I think could have ever happened. We were basically like, well, if no one's going to do anything, and if it gets worse, then at least we can still dance and we can still be a community, and we're not going anywhere just because you are here telling us we shouldn't. These signs also had like so many crazy things that like drag is a sin. There was like, it was also like only white people matter, like a bunch of other things. There were so many other weird things on those signs that it was just insane. The last part, they ended up they heard about drag story hour. There was tons of kids in the Bozeman bookshelf at the time, and all of our volunteers and board members decided that we had to keep that place the safest. So we had a barrier in front of the door, and they like came up to us. They were like trying to get in, but we would not, like, we were locking arms. We were trying to like not let them in.
Mhm.
Eventually moved over to the side, and um yeah, it was just that seemed to me like, if I remember that day, like I was there in front of Country Bookshelf, and there was just like a lot of pushing. It was just chaos. And it's something that you don't see in Montana or in Bozeman at all. So a lot of people were reacting in so many different
Mhm.
ways. And after that, we just started chanting as loud as we can, as loud as we could. And we were saying, "We are here, we are queer" to them as they were chanting like all these slurs to us. And we got louder and louder and louder, that we overpowered them. And our other thought was, we don't want these kids hearing what they're saying. Like, this is
Mhm.
um, traumatic. These are not like good things they're saying. They're all just trying to have fun. And that's all anyone could hear inside the bookshop was, "We are here, we are queer." And eventually they left, but kind of came back, and some other instances
Mhm.
happened. Um, yeah.
Yeah. I actually, well, first of all, thank you for sharing that with us. I'm gonna be putting some stories, some picture for the viewers so they can see what actually happened. I was actually there that day. It was my very first Pride Parade ever in my life. Again, thank you, Bozeman. Thank you, queer community of Bozeman, for introducing me to that. And as you were saying, like it started at the library. It was a very cool, like sunny day. Everyone was having fun. There was music, dancing. And then I remember before the story hour started, me and my friends, we went to the, don't remember the name of the place. Backcountry, I guess. It was something like that.
Oh, Backcountry Burger, or was
No,
it
oh my
like
God. What's the place where happened it happened the
oh, the
story
Jack
hour?
Story? Yeah, Backcountry Bookshelf.
Oh, okay. So me and my friends, we went to the place where the story hour was happening. I already forgot the name anyway. Uh, and while we were there, I started seeing like people saying there's something happening outside. We're gonna close the doors and all of that. So I remember getting so anxious inside. So I told my friends, let's get out. I don't want to stay inside. Uh, as I was walking outside, there was a small kid. She was like crying at the door, and there was some like I don't remember who. I think it was a drag king and another drag queen who were like sitting with her and telling her, "You are safe. No one can harm you inside. You are safe with us," and all of that. I remember that was like so sweet. And then as I opened the door and went outside, all I could see, first of all, the big signs of the bad people and like their face covered in white. And I could see you guys like holding hands and you were chanting again, "We're here, we're queer." And as like I was walking outside the door and going through the side, just seeing this entire thing happening in front of me, it's like time stopped. I'm not kidding. And this was like, oh my God, like this is serious. Like I've never been into something like this before. And like seeing how everyone came together, one, to save your event, two, to show support and solidarity to the community, and three, to save, like, not save, to keep the children inside safe and all of that. So this has warmed my heart so much. And then I remember my friends started shouting. We went to the other side of the road, and my friends started shouting, "Show your face, show your face." And then all the other people like on that side started like shouting, "Show your face," and all of that. But the thing that happened that night is, sorry, that day, I was so scared. I actually bought tickets to the drag show that was happening at night at the Eagles. I was so scared of something else happening, so I didn't go, which I now regret it so much. And yeah, I regret not going because I should have, well, I known, but I should have been more sure that you guys would keep everything safe.
I
But then,
mean, we
yeah.
I mean, that's a totally valid point, because we, at one moment, we had to have an emergency meeting in like a coffee house, like next to
Mm-hmm.
Drag Story Hour. And we're like, what do we do? Do we do we like tell people to leave the block party? Do we cancel the rest of our events? Like, what do we do? And we like talked about it for a while. We're like, no, we can't. Like, if we do that, then they win.
That's true.
And so we did have like extra security and all. We already had that, but we put more in place at the other events later on in the day.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. If I look back on that day, the only thing I regret is I should have been a little bit more vocal. Again, this was the first time witnessing something like this. I've been very sheltered my entire life, so I've never seen fights, anything, but yeah, that was a very eye-opening experience to me.
So yeah, like our meeting after the event on May 20th was kind of traumatizing to us. We were in such like go mode and like had so much adrenaline. And when we had our meeting later on, we kind of all like sat down and like decompressed everything, and we all like told our different sides because we were all in different parts of this event. And we were all just like breaking down in tears. It was like it was different. We never experienced anything like that.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing that got us was hearing like the two board members that were inside the story hour, and how many kids were crying and parents were crying, and like no one wanted to leave, and we had to make sure there was other exits just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah, because these people, not only did they bring those signs, they were also armed as well. They did have like guns on them. They did have knives. So we were just expecting the worst.
On one part, it was like an amazing event that you guys put and like put a lot of effort into it. It was amazing. Despite everything, it was a great day. And like I was so happy. Again, I consider myself part of Montana and part of the Bozeman community. And just seeing everyone, like families with their kids, like young people, older people, like everyone was just like having fun, dancing, enjoying themselves, and then everything was like cut or like had been ruined, not ruined, but yeah, had to face something like this during the event. Yeah, that was not within the plans, I guess. So Hodi, this actually brings us to a similar story that happened last August in Beirut. Can you please tell us a little bit more about it, and how did you guys react?
Okay, so our last drag show in Beirut, which was like in August. I'm not quite sure about the date exactly, but there was a drag show happening to two of my colleagues in the drag scene, and a group of idiots, I'm gonna say.
Yes, let's say that.
Decided to come and stop the show and hit people and threaten everyone attending the show, stating that this is the land of God and gay people should not exist here, and this is like the usual stuff that we're used to from people with such mentality, especially when it comes from homophobes. So they attacked the people there. They hit a couple of guys that we know, our friends they had to go to the hospital. So yeah, after the attack that night, like people went crazy on social media, like, how could this happen? We've never had any incident so far in Beirut. We've been doing drag shows for the past maybe, let's say, 8-10 years, that is, and we've never had an incident. Because we know what we're doing, we know the content that we're providing, and none of the content is usually provocative, or none of the content is actually triggering. So just like people wanted to throw some hate at the queens performing and at the community in general, because it wasn't actually targeted at the queen. They don't even know the queen's performance. They just wanted to make a scene out of it. And like kind of the public was divided into like with and against, and everyone in the media was like with us. A lot of our allies were very vocal, like artists, celebrities, news outlets, like channels and like newspapers and all of that, media outlets, like they were all on our side. And things were kind of like you could see like a bit of hope from that. because again, we had like a lot of people with us and defending the freedom of speech and the right for you to express and do what you want to do and all of that. Because again, their argument is based on like, you're not supposed to be here. If you're gay,
True.
you're not supposed to be in Beirut or in
Which is
Lebanon.
very ironic, to be honest.
Exactly. And it was kind of like, that's it, up until a video that went online, and it was actually not a real video. It was fabricated in a way and edited in a way to showcase one of the queens that were performing. Her style of drag is very alternative. It's very dark and gory. So she's not actually someone who intends to harm anyone or like to kind of you know. So but she had like an audition tape for Dragula, because I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dragula, but Dragula is like same as RuPaul's Drag Race, but it's for alternative drag. It's very dark, it's very gory, it's scary, everything is like just, you know, it's not for the
alternative,
for the usual like, you know, drag fans. So she was applying for that show, and she had like something that she had to do, you know, part of the audition tape. Like she had to do a scene from this movie, a scene from The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and so on.
It was taken out of context.
So exactly. So she posted those videos, but they were a bit gory. Like she was creating a soup out of like cat litter and like vomit and piss. But it wasn't actually piss. It was actually like apple juice, you know, and it was like, it wasn't actually poop. It was like brownies. And so it was actually just all fake. But there was like this scene where she was doing part of The Exorcism of Emily Rose, and then there was like a cross in the scene because like his friend was doing like the exorcism thing, and it was her videos were taken out of context and they were edited out in a way that showcased like she was trying to offend certain religions and so on. And this video went viral and everything got fucked. Like everything, like we just went like 10 years back, because you know, like you always have like people, the allies, the people that are with you, and then you have like the people that are against you, and then you have like this big portion like in the middle, like the gray zone, where like people, they're not with, they're not against, they're just neutral. You know, like, you know, I don't mind them being around, they just don't cross me, like that type of mentality. And those people at first, they were with us, but when this video like surfaced on social media and went viral, this gray zone was all against us, because like, what the fuck, you're like offending our religion, you're now you're offending us, blah blah blah. And again, this was not the intention, but the video was taken out of context. But again, you can't blame people saw this video, it was a bit like graphic, and yeah, and ever since then things went like a bit downhill. We've had like a couple of like incidents on like hate crimes on the streets, where like maybe queer individuals were like assaulted on street every now and then. Almost all drag all drag shows were canceled or postponed, and any event that has to do with drag were actually kind of put on hold for now. We're not being able to do drag for safety reasons, because every time we decide to do something, we get like a call or like maybe a message. It's like, oh, we're waiting for you, or whatever, you know. So yeah, so it's been going. It hasn't been like the best, but actually things are hopefully getting back on track. We're trying to gain the people's trust and to make people actually love us again and respect us for what we do. And hopefully we'll get back there soon.
First of all, Hody, thank you for sharing that story with us today. I have a couple of opinions about this topic. One, I feel like they might be very harsh, so I'm not gonna say them. But what irritated me most about this entire situation is how, again, I cannot literally blame everyone. Again, given the context of Lebanon, it's very religious. People are very like defensive about such topics. You cannot blame them, especially if they haven't had the opportunity to expand their way of thought and like how they perceive other people, and especially people who are different than how they're accustomed to life. But what irritated me most is that you feel like for the past 10 years, as you were saying, a lot of progress has happened in terms of showcasing drag, our abilities, of what you guys are doing. And again, you also said you have like red lines you won't cross in terms of we don't talk about politics or we don't do anything related to religion. And when someone comes, take a certain drag show or like a video or like a statement and puts it out of context, and like specifically to cause harm for a certain individual, like a certain community, is very, I don't know how to say it, but it's like in very bad intentions. This doesn't sit right with me, to be honest. I feel if people
Yeah.
actually took 1 minute to cross-check the information that they have been receiving, and if they just took 1 minute to think, okay, is this literally true? What do I think outside of religion, outside of like my thoughts? And do I want to cause harm to this person, or do I just want to maybe sit down or maybe advocate for them? If everyone did that, I think we would have been in a way better situation.
Of
And
course.
this actually brings me, I feel like the situation that happened in Lebanon and the situation that happened in Montana are not like separate situations. I feel like this is a global movement that's been happening for the past year or two. But unfortunately, it is very rooted, again, it's rooted in politics, but also religion. And I feel we are using these two polar extremes in ways that we can justify violence and we can justify the horrors that have been inflicted or like they've been causing for the drag community, which is sad, to be honest. And as you said,
Definitely.
Hodi, it looks like things are improving at the moment in Lebanon, and I really hope
It will get better for sure. It will get
Mhm.
better. It takes time for
It
people
takes time,
to
sure.
forget and move on. And this
But
is
the
what will
thing
happen if we're
is,
giving
I
all the
feel like
time.
people should not forget, people should learn from their mistakes, and people
Of course.
should learn to accept others even if they don't agree with them. And what I'm hoping from this episode is, if I'm not changing minds, at least I'm showing you that I respect how you think, but I also am an individual. I'm a person, I'm a human being, and how I live my life should not be dictated by how you live your life, if that makes sense.
Of course, but I mean, this is how it's supposed to be. This is like the
Mhm.
perfect word, but
True.
reality, I'm not sure. So we
We
just
can hope
hope
for the best. Hodi, this brings us to our next question, and it's actually about raising awareness and advocacy.
Mhm.
You know, like drag, its artistry and its cultural significance is very important. At least we know that. What do you feel like are some strategies in which are best in raising awareness for the drag community, but also you can advocate for the stuff that has been happening and like showcasing the better side of drag and like the cool side of it? Which I'm not saying that there's bad side to it, but for people to realize that drag is not bad, it's not harmful, it's just like an art form. How would you advocate for that?
Yeah, there are many things. One, vote. Two, be as vocal as you can. Don't be afraid to express yourself. And know who your people are. Get to know who
That's a good
you,
advice.
yeah, who you vibe with, who you care about, and who they, the drag community is so vastly different in parts, but for the most part, at least in my community, we are super loving, we're caring, we try and help and support each other in any way. Yeah, the biggest thing is to not be silent and to always be louder and um always always be you.
Love that.
Listen, so again, doing drag and having a platform, regardless of drag,
Mhm.
the fact that you have a platform to talk and you can reach out to more people, I think you have a sense of responsibility to what you say and what you do. Because if you can use this platform to help and raise awareness and advocate for the better, then you should. If you have a platform and you're not using it for the right stuff, then you don't deserve that platform for me. And this is actually what I believe in and what I do actually in my shows. It's actually using my platform and to be very vocal and to help and so on. Uh, I usually in my shows I tackle so many issues like social issues and things that we go through. We've never tackled something that has to do with homophobia much because we've never had like such hate crimes in
Mhm.
Beirut. at least when it comes to drag. So I think after the incident that happened, our next drag shows will definitely be targeting and mentioning stuff that about the stuff that happened and how we can help improve as a community and how we can actually make people stand by our side and become allies again. I think there are so many ways that we can use to do that. Again, using drag as an art form and just like to focus on the art, not the political part. This will help a lot because people love to see good things and people love to laugh. And through comedy and through performance, I think it's like the best approach to make people fall in love with you. So instead of being like, you can be vocal, definitely. It might help in a way, but again, reality, you know, because you have like the expectation or like in a perfect world, yeah, I can be vocal and tell people, hey, listen, I deserve to be here and I want to be here and this is my right and I'm free to do whatever I want. But it would work. I don't think it would work. So this is why I think the best approach is through comedy, through performances, through like the artistry of drag, where you make people appreciate what you're doing, make people laugh, make people cry, make people like happy with the performances and whatever you want to deliver on that stage. And slowly you make people again rethink about whatever they were going through when they saw that video, or if they liked it or not, or whatever. And I think this is what has been going on for the past couple of years. Like, I mean, we have a big fan base in Beirut. Not, I don't want to call it the fan base. I would say like a support system, because like we have like some fans, yeah, but like we have like people that they just love to be part of what we're doing.
Fan number one.
And this, thank you.
Pointing at myself.
But you know, like but people love what we do because like again in Beirut, like LGBT issues is like the least of our concern, to be very honest. We don't have electricity, we don't have like proper water, we don't have like proper medication or like hospitals, and like the educational system is fucked, and economical crisis and inflation and explosion.
Literally everything.
Like we're always going through something. You know what I mean? So like LGBT issues, yeah, it's a major issue for on a personal level, but it's not like a bigger issue, you know, like I mean now I have electricity to talk to you, but like maybe in like 5 minutes I might not have the power to even like talk to you, you know?
Sure.
So for me, this is the bigger issue because like I need to be connected to the outer world, you know?
Yeah.
So so for the past couple of years, we've always used this approach. People like come to our shows because it's like a break for everyone to come and laugh and forget about everything that is going on around and just like enjoy like this 1 hour, 1 hour and a half of like pure joy and fun, and like, and we talk about everything. And even in my show, like speaking about like being an advocate for certain issues, like I use in every show and every fucking show that I do, especially the ones at the bar, not like at club where I'm doing a performance, but like when I like the 1 hour show or like 1 hour and a half, there's always this segment that we do at our show, me and my sister called Diva. So yeah, me and Diva, we have a show called Hi Labdou. So me and Diva, we have a show called Wow. And we have like so many editions now. So usually in our show, like before the last performance, we ask everyone to stop recording and to put their phones down. And I talk for like 10 minutes about like so many things. And one of them is actually substance abuse and drug addiction. So we raise awareness about that. And we mention the names of NGOs and facilities that can help people who are addicts or who are going through substance abuse, and how to reach out and not to be scared to reach out and so on. So we raise awareness about that in every show, and the importance about being sober, and the importance of as a community to be like healthy in everything.
That's
so
amazing.
I also talk about like safe sex and sexual health. So we mentioned the names of NGOs that provide free services to get tested for HIV and all the similar STIs. So we mentioned that in every show. Like we use this platform to be vocal about these issues, because I feel like it's responsibility. You know, like yeah, I can do the show and leave, and I can actually use this 5 minutes and tell everyone, hey guys, go get tested. It's really important to get tested, because some people might not take that as serious, but when they hear it more than once in every show. Like we're saying, hey guys, please get
They
tested, be
start to think
safe,
it's
do
serious.
sex. Okay, maybe we should get tested. Maybe like, because I know some people that have never got tested in their life. Like they don't take it as serious, you
True.
know. So yeah, we use our platforms correctly, and we use them in the right way to spread awareness and to help. And we do it through arts and through comedy and through laughter and through good things.
That's amazing. I know there's a saying, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but that says that music and dance actually brings people closer. And I feel this literally translates what you're trying to say, that if we just put in a good show and hope people enjoy it, this will, on the long run, make them actually appreciate us and this art form.
Of course, 100%.
This actually, guys, brings me to my very last question. You know, given the current circumstances in the world and everything that's happening, if you have one message to our audience and to everyone listening or hearing us today, what would that message be? Not to put you on the spot, but
Oh God,
I am actually putting you on the spot. So.
last message.
Could be
God,
anything.
there's so many things I could think of. It would be love one another, respect one another, do research before you do anything.
Sure.
Don't believe everything you see on social media. Especially with everything going on now. I would tell people, like, do your research. Like, just don't believe anything you see on social media. And life is not that serious. Just enjoy life, live and let live. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a really good one. Something that I want people to take away from is that you know, you only live once, so live your life up, and love, support, community, and engagement with your community is always the most important thing. And like I said before, is if you're not being yourself, then you're not living life either. So, you know, taking risks and when taking those risks, you will continue to do great things in life for your community and for yourself.
Thank you so much, guys. I actually very agree. If I can actually add one message, it's gonna be that please, please, please just dare a little bit to extend yourself, extend the way you're thinking and the way you view the world, because there's so much culture, there's so much education, there's so much happiness when you get out of yourself and see the world in a new pair of eyes. So please dare to do that for just 1 second, please. Anyway, thank you so much, Sophia and Hodi. This has been an amazing conversation. I found it to be very insightful, and I'm really sure actually our audience will find it as well. So thank you so much. Hey everyone, I just want to take a minute and thank you all for being a huge part of our first season. Your support, your love has been truly indescribable. I cannot imagine that just a simple idea I had when I was doing my exchange program would touch so many people. Again, thank you so, so much. And I promise you we're gonna be back for another season very soon.